we've had new unemployment data out today that shows that joblessness has dropped by 0.6% to 33.9%. That's down from 34.5% in the previous quarter. More than 600,000 new jobs were created in the same period. Let's get the reaction now from Reuben Maleka, who's with the Public Servants Association. Reuben, a very good afternoon to you. Welcome. So, slight improvement when you look at joblessness in South Africa, but still not great news yet, right?
Yes, good afternoon to Megile and the West FM. Indeed, the 0.6% one obviously is just a drop in an ocean in a country where you realize that the rate of unemployment is too high. We are at a stage where majority of South Africans have actually lost interest or hope to find jobs. You will find that the stats obviously consider those who are actively looking for jobs, but there are many South Africans who are no longer actively looking for jobs. As we know, that is quite for some time that we have been in a trajectory of the high rate of unemployment. So it might be the true reflection, it might be higher than what we see as the stats provided by the Statistics South Africa. So we also applaud some of the initiatives that have been done by government, one being that of such as the Department of Home Affairs, of going to employ more 10,000 youth that would be doing some of the work for the Department of Home Affairs. That is the kind of initiatives that we're looking for as South Africans, to see government actively also, trying to manage the issue of unemployment, especially among the youth. Because if you find a nation that the majority of these youth are unemployed and are roaming the streets, that's the recipe for disaster. And we applaud the employers and some of the ministers, such as the Home Affairs, that are having those kind of initiatives.
The problem, though, with initiatives such as what you're pointing to is what has been a long-standing criticism of the South African economy. At the moment, government remains the single largest employer, and in the long term, that's not sustainable.
Yes, of course. One thing for sure that as South Africans we must agree upon is that if government does not resolve the issue of Eskom crisis, does not resolve the issue of crime, and also issue of border management. Remember, some of the violent crimes that we find in our country are as a result of open markets that we find that when a person is hijacked, the car is easily crossed through the borders. Those are kind of things that we expect government to start managing, because if you can manage the issue of crime, manage the issue of electricity, which is a crisis Eskom, we can expect that the private sector would also come into play and start, getting jobs, created around, so that the majority of South Africans can get jobs. But until Eskom crisis is resolved and the high rate of crime, especially violent crime, is addressed, we are going to see that the majority of the private sector are unable to create jobs. At the same time, government, as we know, is not necessarily the primary creator of jobs, but they need interventions, policies, and means to protect the economy to grow.
And when you look at the sectors where there has been some positive news, 648,000 jobs were created in the quarter, the reporting period that we're now hearing about, right? But there was no significant growth, at least as far as the public sector where you are based is concerned. So what does that mean for the prospects for public servants in this country, especially in the midst of that conversation that's been put on pause for the moment around shaving the public sector wage bill?
Yes, Jabir, that's the crisis that we are facing, and that's the battle that we are fighting with the Minister of Finance, to say the obsession of trying to, what called wage bill is ballooned, is going to create a problem. As we speak right now, you know that the number of key sectors, such as police, is very, very thin, is tightened. You won't find enough police officers that can fight the crime that I'm talking about that is affecting the economy. If you go to the schools, many of the schools, the ratio teacher to learner is very high. That is why you don't find the quality of education that you expect as South Africans, that is not going to be dependent on somebody coming from out of the school and looking for jobs. People must come out of the school and also think about creating jobs, other than looking for jobs. We don't have that opportunity because of the quality of education, the number of teachers that we have vis-a-vis the learners. Thirdly, the issue of health. Health is also a concern because if you go to majority of the hospitals and the clinics, there are very few health professionals that are actually being able. We just had the report yesterday about the situation of one of the institutions in Eastern Cape, where all specialists have left the hospital. That is the crisis that we are faced with.
Right. And so how well resourced then are public servants to survive outside of the public service should plans such as trimming the public sector wage bill go ahead?
Look, the fact is that where we are right now, we are not going to allow the trimming of the public service. We all know that at this point in time, the target is that the people that are 60 years and older must leave the public service. And the question is that if indeed they are going to retrench or they want to push majority public servants out of the system, would they also be able to sustain the pension money? Remember, majority of the monies that public servants owns are in the PIC, and majority of or chunk of the PIC money is invested in government through projects like the ESCOMs and other things. So if there's going to be a bleed of majority of people that are retrenched, the likelihood is that the pension fund would not be able to sustain the outflux of majority of public servants out of the public service, and that is not going to be sustainable. It means whatever that money is owed to public servants through PIC, which is owed by government, must be paid back. And they also at the same time say they don't have money. And the question is that how do they pay back the money of public servants' pension money through PIC if they don't have money themselves as we speak?
Reuben Maleka from the PSA, good to have your time as always. Thank you, sir.